Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistance. Now remember there were 4 categories, right? So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love. Hey, it's Monday night.
And we are in this place. What place are we in?
Wherever we are with KW.
That's right.
And we're so excited to be here.
We are. You know, we were talking with somebody earlier over Messenger, Janice, and we were talking about
Monday.
it being a Monday. And you know, she was like, "Well, what's a Monday? How is that different from a regular Monday?" And I was like, "A Monday is when you feel like you have already done your full week already, but you haven't."
So if you're going through a Monday, we're right there with you. Although my Monday last week was a Monday for me. This today, well, that wasn't.
I can't say that I had a Monday either. It was a productive day, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, we're not complaining tonight. We're so excited that you're here. Thank you so very much for joining us on this Monday night, a Monday Night Live with KW. KW Ministries was born out of our own grief, out of our own pain, out of our own journey of healing. And so we started writing and we started talking with people. And we started sharing stories with each other, and we find out that all of us are on a journey. We're all going somewhere in life. And tonight's discussion, I'm really excited about tonight's discussion. I'm excited about our guest, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. You know, retirement. For a lot of people, that's a word that comes with some fear.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
For some people, it comes with confidence.
Yes.
Because I know what I'm about.
Yes.
And for some people, I think it comes with uncertainty.
But I don't know, regardless of how confident you are, unless you're like retiring from the military or a police force, where sometimes you retire, at 40, you do 8 years or 20 years and you're retiring. But when you're talking about retirement age, I don't know, regardless of how confident you are, I think there's some hesitancy that comes with it, don't you?
I'm sure there is. It's a big life transition.
Right.
It's going from something that you know and have known for a long time,
right,
into a part of your life that's maybe not as clear,
right,
because you've never done it before.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure that comes with an emotional experience. But I digress.
We have someone here tonight that will walk us through that journey, and we're so grateful for that.
So I was thinking, as you were talking about how we got started and how our journey took us through some writing and took us through some therapy. You didn't say that, and took us through just, we're still on our own healing journey. And I was thinking, consummate salesperson that I am, that one of the things that we want to be able to share with you. Thank you, Annie. One of the things that we want to be able to share with you from our journey is some of the things that we've written.
Yes.
And, Winston started the journey really with a devotional series that's really very good. And when I say very good, obviously I'm a little bit biased, guys. He's my husband. But I'm also not biased in the sense that I wouldn't tell you that something was good if I didn't think it was. And the devotional series just walks through just our relationship with God and what that means for us and what it can mean for us. And that's foundational, I think, to any journey that we're on.
A powerful devotional that I think would really bless somebody is A Journey Through Spiritual Warfare.
Yeah.
Where we take a look at Satan.
Yeah.
For a liar. He disguises himself as this powerful, I wouldn't say influencer would be a lie, because he's a great influencer.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have all the power that he pretends to have. And there's a scary image, there's a scary picture of him, but he himself is not really scary. And that's a really good devotional that deals with that.
Yeah.
A Journey Through Spiritual Warfare.
Absolutely. It's a good start. So I encourage you, go visit the shop. It's www.kwministries.net/shop. Browse around. Find something for you. Find something for a friend. There's so much there. And we really just want to share our journey with you through some of the things that we've prepared and discovered, and of course, just other fun stuff.
And there's a whole bunch of free stuff in there too. NRK has packed that store with a whole bunch of free
Absolutely.
posters and digital stuff. So it's really, really exciting in there.
Yeah.
We would love for you to go. Good night, Brother Glenn. Welcome, 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 welcome. We're so happy that you're here. Let me introduce our guest. Our guest is, in full disclosure, he's my uncle. Might not be biological, but he's definitely my uncle. He was there for me at some of the hardest time in my life. He took me into his home, and him, his wife, and his kids took care of me. And we're so grateful. We'll always be grateful to that. Anthony Jackson, he's married to Yufa Jackson, and they have 3 adult children, Stephen, Monet, and Dr. Jackson, who practices medicine. Uncle Tony recently, well, not so much recently anymore, but recently enough retired. And we spoke on the phone for a long, long time one day. And ever since then, I didn't say anything to him, but ever since then, I'm thinking we have to sit down and talk with him. I wanted to give him some time to settle into retirement. And then I wanted for us to chat with him about his journey, about his preparation. And we were talking backstage just now. And he's ready. He's ready for this. He's ready for this conversation. And so, Auntie, let's just bring in Uncle Tony and let's just have a conversation.
Sounds good to me. Hey there.
Let's unmute.
Hey. All right, there we go.
Do it again. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Uncle. How are you?
Evening.
Oh, I am doing great, thanks.
And everybody's doing well?
Yes, on my end, everybody is good.
Good, sir. Good, sir. Listen, Rick Warren in his book, The Purpose-Driven Life, and Rick Warren was talking about death when he made this statement. But I want for us to put it within the context of retirement. Rick Warren said, only a fool does not plan for the inevitable. Only a fool does not plan for the inevitable. I would like for that to be the context in which we have our discussion tonight. Tell us about you. Tell us about, well, let me start by telling you about you. Uncle Tony's a MacGyver. There is nothing on this planet that Uncle Tony cannot do. I don't know if he can't fly a plane, but there's nothing that he can't do. Where did your ethics, your work ethics come from?
That came from my father. He was the type of person like me. At first, he used to be a mechanic. Then he learned plumbing. He also did electrical work. He did electronics, build his own amplifier, play music, a little of everything, jack of all trades. And then he went to New York, worked for the railroad as an electrician for years.
And that influenced you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I remember the first car he built. And we always had a picture of it at home on the wall. They called it the Bluebird because he put parts from a couple different cars together and built his first car. And, a lot of people were surprised that it ran. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Tony, how old were you when your dad built that car?
Yeah, that's a good
I was just small because I would say probably around 8, and I can still remember it. Blue car. Yeah, about 7, 8. Yeah.
So you mentioned that your dad was the one who really influenced you in terms of who you would become. And I imagine that was probably that very first experience that you had, that, really formative age that you had with your dad, and it kind of set the tone for the rest of your life. So tell us a little bit about coming from that point, your upbringing. What did you get into personally?
Well, he was the type of person who worked hard, and I can remember him before he left Jamaica to come to the US. He planned on coming here and work for a while, and then he is gonna come home and retire. And that was something he was always looking forward to. It didn't happen that way. He died early, but I came to New York a few years before he died and lived with him and picked up a lot of things, learned a lot of things from him. And the work ethics, he used to always say, if I rest, I rust. Never stopped. He was always going. No matter what day of the week, he was doing something. So I think that's where I picked that up from. Always staying busy and never just give up on things. Always try. You don't just look at things and say, well, it's broken, it's not gonna work. You wanna know exactly what is wrong with it, and you'll pull them apart and fix, see what's wrong and fix it. Yep. And things I've learned a lot from him, and hopefully I can pass on a lot of what I know to somebody else.
Stacy's saying hi to us, Uncle Tony. We're talking about a journey of healing. And so I have to ask you, how did his early death impact you? How did it? So we know that you picked up your life skills, your life lessons from him along the way. But now you've joined him and he passes. How did that impact you?
Well, it was hard at first, but as one of our cousins, I can remember all the time. I remember this at his funeral. One of our cousins, he was saying, he think the way that my father grew us, not having him will still make us stronger. And I seen many a days when from the things that I guess the seeds he sowed, I could call on a lot of different people that he worked with and get things done. If I had needed information or any help with anything, you can always go back to some of the people that was around him. And I guess what he instilled in us made all of us, not just me, but all his kids, everybody grew up strong, and they all doing good, put it that way. Everybody doing good.
I think we learned our go ahead.
So I was thinking, Uncle Tony, that you mentioned that one of the things that your dad kind of sparked in you was this idea of retiring. You mentioned that he didn't get the chance to retire, but I heard where you said that there was conversation about the importance of working towards that. So I'm curious about that discussion being sparked between you and your dad about retirement. How did that influence how you then worked towards retirement?
Well, when I came from Jamaica, went to New York and did some college and started working on the Long Island Railroad. And at the time, if you put in 30 years, you can retire and start drawing a pension. And I always admired the old guys who came back to visit all the time. They came back, they were in their 50s and still strong and healthy. And I'm going, man, one of these days, I want to be one of those persons you can get up, do what you want to do, and still pretty much healthy enough to enjoy your life after working. So, I put in quite a couple of years there. I did 11 years in New York, and at that point, I decided I want to move my family out of New York. So I moved to Virginia and went back to the railroad down here. So I've been a lifelong railroader. And they had a good retirement IRA program too. They didn't have the same type of thing like we had in New York, but if you decided to save, they would match whatever you put in give you at least 6% of what you put in. And figuring I would like to go as soon. I always thought I want to go whenever I could retire. So I put away what I can and worked hard over the years. And I realized there's a few things that I would have I would change if I was to do it over with retiring. When you putting away, all right, say for instance, they had a good IRA program you put away, but I should have also split part of that and put it in a Roth IRA, so that when I'm retired now, and if I want to pull some of that money, say you want to buy a house for your kid or do something, all that money is already taxed. So it's a good thing to have part of your money where you can touch it without having to deal with that big tax on it. So that's something I would have changed. But,
So you heard that? Yeah.
yes.
So let's know everybody here's some free advice. Free advice. Put your money, let your money be post tax. Let them tax it
Part
now.
of it, yes.
Part
of it get taxed before, because it's a lot freer to work with when you retire. If you want to do something with, or if before you retire you still want to pull that and say buy a house or pay for your kids' education, that money is already taxed. You don't get that penalty as when it's not taxed before and you gotta pull it out.
Right.
So, my question for you, Uncle Tony, is this. So, first of all, how did you learn about these different things that you would need to even be thinking about? IRA, Roth IRA. How did you even learn about those things to know what you should have done and to even now reflect and say, I should have done this differently? How did you learn those things?
Well, some of it, over the years, you talk to guys who getting closer to retirement that been there earlier, so you get to their experiences. You can learn from them what they're doing and what sometimes they tell you they wish they could do better. So you try to improve on it, and at the same time, from my experience doing little investing, I learned some of the stuff about IRAs and Roth and 401ks, the differences, they're similar, but there are little differences that can help in different situations.
How old were you when you first started thinking about all of this?
I would say probably right in the first I qualified, as soon as I qualified to start investing in the railroad retirement system, I made sure I put in as much as I could in it, because the earlier you start, the better.
Yeah. And this was way before retirement.
Oh yeah, way before retirement.
Where did you get that consciousness from? Because for many of us, we don't. It's hard to see down the road. We can plan for next week, we can plan for next month, but to see that far down the road. So where did you get that consciousness to say, one day I'm going to retire?
Well, trust from, I guess, world experience, from talking to people who, as I say, I've always been doing work on the side and talk to people who owns house or getting older, and some of the things that sometimes you sit down and you talk about, what they could do different that would make their life better, and you try to add it, those things to your life to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that they make. Yep.
You hear that word, Mom? I think in almost every conversation we have had. Hi, Sister Sands. Hello, Jabal. In almost every conversation we've had, you hear the word relationship keep
Mm-hmm.
coming up over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Every single conversation, it's you have to build relationship with people. You have to build. One thing Uncle Tony said earlier was he would watch the old guys when they came back to visit. He would see
Mm-hmm.
them, and then
Yep.
he said he would talk to other people. So we have to build relationships with people.
You know, I was thinking about that idea of talking to other people, and I found myself wondering, were there any particular people that you really, talked to as you started to, think about planning towards retirement? Were there particular people that you talked to, and if there was anybody special that you did, what were some of the things that
Impacts.
that stood out for you from those conversations?
Yes, there was two union guys I can remember is distinctly at work. They were always going to the when the union have their yearly meetings in um Nevada. They would go and they would tell us all the new stuff that's going on and how to help prepare for retirement and the things to do, and that helped a lot because you know the, I think they knew they seemed very knowledgeable when
Mm-hmm.
they brought that stuff back to us.
Mm-hmm.
I took it serious.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying something about relationships. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things you gotta, I think, is important to you gotta build some relationships along the way, so that when you do get to retirement, some people scared. What you gonna do when you get to retirement? If you build the right relationships, you'll have at least a couple friends. You don't have to have a whole heap of friends. Couple good
Mm-hmm.
friends that you can spend time with. And even if you don't have a lot of stuff to do, you shouldn't be lonely and worried about what you're gonna do now.
Mm-hmm. I'm coming back to us first to dig into that some more. There's something you
Mhm.
said earlier that I want for us to explore. I want to go back to. You said your father lived in such a way that when he died, the relationships he formed benefited you and your siblings. Could
Yes.
you talk to us? I think that was so powerful. Could you talk to us a little bit about that? Hello, Emil.
Pastor Maxi, good to have you on.
Thanks for coming on.
Yes. There he was, as I say, always doing things for other people. Yes, sometimes you charge them, but um anybody could call him at any time of the day or night if they had a problem, and he would go out, work on whatever. Yeah, and as I say, he did little of everything. He did boilers, plumbing, electrical, generators, anything. He worked on them, and people, I guess, appreciated that. And I never heard anybody have anything bad to say about him or anything. He was always the type of person that was loved and would do anything for you. And I guess after he passed, pretty much a lot of the people that he knew, that I also knew, I could go back to them at any time, and I used to do some of the same work too afterwards. I started doing electrical work and little mechanic work too and everything. So I'll get work from them and all of that. So they
You know,
looked out for me
Yes,
because
sir.
he used to look out for them.
For them.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
thinking about retirement, for me, I think about, okay, when I retire, what will I have left for my children?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes we focus that discussion around finances.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hear you saying is that
Yes. Yes.
also part of retirement, working towards that period of transition in your life, it comes with what's the legacy of relationships that you're leaving
Yes.
for
Yes.
your children, for the
Yes.
next
True.
generation, and how that legacy, how those connections and relationships can actually help the next generation. Because what you said is that your dad's relationships helped
Benefited you.
you
No,
Oh
come
yeah.
on. Let me put it in Bible terms. Cast your bread upon
on
the water,
water.
and you will
It shall be
find it
detached
after
for many
many days.
days. Yes.
Even if it's not
Yes.
you that find it, your children benefits from it. And
Exactly.
here is what I want to also ask you, Uncle Tony, because I know you, and I know that you, like your father, like how you described your father to us, you give. Me, for example, you didn't know me from Adams, and you took me into your home. Where, how important is giving back as we prepare for retirement? I was reading something the other day, and it says that as people get older, what they're trying to do is secure how much stuff can they have, how much stuff can they have. But a part of the secret to planning for retirement is to be able to give back. How important is
Exactly.
giving back, and why?
It is very important. Well, you probably know. After you stayed with us for a while, I guess we did fostering for a good time
Oh,
too. So we had quite a few kids come through,
oh.
and we just stopped that just when COVID started because
Mm,
we didn't want to get out there with all this
mm,
COVID thing. So, but
mm,
it felt good helping some of these young people that
mm,
that their situation is rough, and we are in a position where we can help. And I guess it's something in you to just try and help make this world a better place. That's the
mm,
way I think about it.
mm,
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah.
You know, Cheryl Sands, she just popped up and said, when all is said and done, it's about relationships. And then she made the point, healthy
Healthy relationship. That's so
relationships.
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
That is so
Mm-hmm.
important. All right, Uncle Tony. So now talk to us because you're human just like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Retirement is coming up. Talk to us about some of the fears that you went through.
Well, I didn't really have much fears. The only thing I prayed, Lord, let me be healthy when time come for retirement, because that I find that money. I've seen so many people retire, and within 2 years, they are gone. Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, are they sick? They just take sick right after they retire. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my biggest thing was, Lord, keep me healthy so I can enjoy a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
of my retirement. So when I reached retirement age, instead of hanging around longer, I decided, well, it's time for me to go enjoy a little of what I've worked for all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
Yep.
But so as health becomes, we were talking about this before we started, and
Mm-hmm.
I said let's not spoil it because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted as health becomes a main concern. How did you? Because you're healthy, but folk can't see you. But
Fairly.
how did you maintain your health? What are some of the things you did to maintain your health?
Well, I've been real active all the time, so um exercise. I don't do it as much as I should, but I walked a lot before.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I am home, I try to do a little yoga, a little aerobic exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Get up each day, do a little exercise, because believe it or not, it makes a difference. Make you feel better when you get up and do it. Just do
Mm-hmm.
something. Ride a bike. Go walk the neighborhood. But
Mm-hmm.
something to keep you going, because once you keep moving, you're gonna stay healthier in the first place, and it also makes you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, three things I've noted so far, Uncle
Mm-hmm.
Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So, retirement is, yes, about financial planning. It's
Mhm.
also about planning for yourself emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also about planning for yourself physically.
Physically.
Physically,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So those are, and I'm sure there's more to it, but those
Yes.
three things. Was there a point where you began to have an intentional plan towards retirement, where you started to consider those three areas and you started to put things in place towards, where you wanted to be when you did retire?
Well, at one time we were thinking of probably moving when we retired, and
Mm-hmm.
after few years of of quite a few years of being here, I figure this year is one of the better place to be. I can't see making friends and family right here, and then when I retire, I move say to Florida where I only have I have two brothers there, but I would have to go look for all new friends again
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
start over. And I like it right here,
Mm-hmm.
and it it's something familiar. Some people like
Mm-hmm.
starting over, but I like the familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm.
And you hear Uncle Tony said what was important, and Pastor Maxie said the body is like a bicycle. To
Mhm.
maintain balance, you have to keep moving. Thank you,
Ye-
sir. Thank you very
I
much.
would
Yes.
take that
Oh,
a little
yes.
bit further.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a little bit further, just to kind of expand on it, the body is like a bicycle, all parts of the body, right?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Mind and
right,
body.
right.
Yes,
So if we
that's
want to
true.
maintain balance, we have to keep our minds active as well
Active.
as our bodies active.
That's powerful. That's really powerful.
Mhm.
Something that you keep saying, and so I'm gonna go back to it again, is how important relationships are. Because you said, yes, there's warmer weather in Florida. It's warmer
Mhm.
than Virginia during wintertime. But I built these relationships.
Mhm.
Why is relationships so important to you?
Well, I don't know if it's a Jamaican thing, but we are social beings. We
Mm,
like to have friends and get together, play dominoes, and have people that you're familiar with to
mm,
hang out with.
mm,
People um that make you feel good.
mhm,
Hmm.
So
mhm.
yeah, social activity is real important to us.
Uncle, last one follow up with this because let me tell you, Uncle knows how to party. Okay, so let me tell you how important. Uncle doesn't only work hard; he plays hard.
Mhm.
How important is that aspect as one gets ready for retirement to be to have a good social life, to play hard?
Well, as I said, if you have a good social life, and it can be um, church, it could be your church community folks, it could
Mhm,
be like our social club where we have guys who play dominoes with all the time, come
mhm,
around and go out every so often. Somebody you can call on anytime if you need help with something. And
mhm,
you'll find that when you get older, yes, you need help. Sometimes you gotta call that friend.
mhm.
Yeah. So it is important to have those friends.
Staying with social, and only because I know the love of your life,
Hmm.
how important is your partner when it comes to retirement?
Oh, very important. Oh yes. Yeah, we're like two peas in a pod, so
Mhm,
it life wouldn't be the same without her.
mhm,
Definitely.
mhm,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm glad I have somebody who pretty much clicks with me. So
Mhm.
mhm,
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
What were some of the conversations that you
Yes,
guys had about
as you
retirement and
prepared.
what you wanted to do and how you wanted to do it
Mhm.
and what you wanted life to look like after retirement?
And I know Auntie hasn't retired, right?
Yes, she has.
Oh, she has?
Yeah, we retired together.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Please notice what he said.
We
retired
retired together. I heard
Mhm.
it.
That
I
doesn't
heard it.
happen by
I
chance.
know.
So
Mhm.
I
What were
want
the
to hear about
conversations?
this.
Yes.
Yes, that was good. A kind of good plan in there. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I've, for almost every other year, we would go home to Jamaica, spend 2 weeks or something like that. And after a while, I kind of saying, well, I wish I could spend more time home.
Mm-hmm.
So right after I retired and we went home, I made sure we spent a whole month down there, enjoy yourself going, man, it's a long time I wanted to do that. And if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
retire, I couldn't really do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to get up when I want to go spend some time with my grandson. I
Mm-hmm.
just plan and get up and go. So,
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the benefits of being retired. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have appointments. All right, I'm going to go look for my grandson, spend some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Hilbert then just made the comment that, having friends around to spend time with in your retirement years keeps you healthy and keeps your
Mhm.
mind active.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yes.
that's such a good point. Thinking back, we had talked a little bit about, when you looked at some people who retired and then they just kind of passed on really quickly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I had the brief thought when you were talking about that, observing, people that I knew over the course of my life as well, people who retired and had that same experience. And I found myself going, well, does it have anything to do with my work is all I am?
Ah, good. Very good.
I have run into people who really think that, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much if they're not working, what am I gonna do? And there are some people you might be able to convince different, but there were some guys that is like, nah, I can't retire. I seen guys would come to work that if they stayed home, they would make more money being
Mm-hmm.
retired than when they come to work. And they're going, man, I just can't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
mentally, you can't convince them people. People like those gonna work until they die. If they're not working, they don't really have any social network to
Mm-hmm.
keep their mind. I think that is
Mm-hmm.
part of the problem because most of the people that I did talk like that, they don't really have many friends other than
Mm-hmm.
those at work. So the only people
Mm-hmm.
that they really talk to is those at work. So it's good to have that social network other than at work, so you have reason to get out and do something else.
Yeah.
And Kamala, I would suppose that one of the challenges is home. I'm not
Hmm.
really happy at home.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And so, work becomes the best outlet for me.
Yeah.
Uncle
Hmm.
Tony, how intentional, and I know that you and Auntie are close, I know all of that, but I want to talk about the process now, because no marriage just automatically becomes perfect. There's no such thing. How intentional were you both to say, you know what, where we live, we are going to be happy, and so that
Hmm.
work is not either of our
And end all be all.
right. We're not married to work. How important
Hmm.
was it for you to make sure home was happy, and what was your intentionality? How did that process work?
Well, as I was saying earlier with you, when you're planning to retire, you got to look at the picture of how your bills are and
Mm-hmm.
what you can do for your kids and what you want to do for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
While you're working, you gotta set them up so that they are independent. So when you're retired, you don't have to be worrying. Sometimes it happens. Yes, you gotta help them out after you retire, but you try your best to get them set up so they are on their own. That if anything, you should be able to reach out to them and get something. But
Mm-hmm.
they're independent individuals by the time you retire, and
Mm-hmm.
you work as best to pay down your biggest bills. Most people, it's their mortgage. You try get it down or pay it off before you retire. So when you're retired, you don't have all that to worry about. And one thing I've learned too, with while you are young and healthy, try and get a good insurance policy. Because once you get sick, it's hell getting one. And that's not the time to share, because most companies don't want to give you one. So, you know, when people are young and working, it might be tight, but you try put a little aside for an insurance policy, because even if it's small, you can add on to it if you have it already. But trying to get one when you get sick and get older, it is hard to do.
That's some good advice.
Yes.
That's some good advice. Let me ask you a question, Uncle Tony. There's someone who's getting ready to retire, and they're scared. Could you talk to that person for a second?
Oh yes, you know that I've done before with other people who you know, trying to retire and saying nah, they don't know if they should or not. Yes. Oh yes. It is for me anyway. I get up and enjoy myself. I don't have to worry about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning like I used to go to work. Do my exercise, do what I plan to do for the day. And you know, if I get up and I don't feel like doing anything, when I'm retired, I can take a break for that day and put it off till the next day.
Right.
You know?
So there's benefit. You can look forward to that.
Exactly. Those are some of the benefits. You know, you can make big plans every day, but if you get up and you don't feel like doing it today, all right, do it tomorrow, because there's nobody gonna argue with you that you didn't come to work.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So, Uncle, you planned well. Your auntie planned well. There are people out there. One of the worst things for me is when I walk into Walmart and I see some older persons. When I say older, I'm talking people like they're in their 80s at the door working.
Yeah.
And many of those people are working for insurance, I'm told. Uncle, you planned well. There are some people that did not plan well, where they're actually miserable in their retirement. Do you have any advice for them?
Well, I'm fortunate that, you know, with my old job, I still get decent insurance even after retirement. But fortunately today, with the insurance that the government helps us to get, we can get decent most places. Not all the states, because some states won't let the people do it, but most states you can get decent insurance now for reasonable price. And until you get to 65, which you get on to Medicare, you can get covered if you decide to go early. You can get decent insurance, and you know, it don't kill you like before.
So what I heard you say is hope is not lost.
No.
Even if you didn't make all of the plans that you could have, there's still things in place where we can get what we need.
Yes.
The other thing I was thinking about, and you tell me if I'm right about this, Uncle Tony, even if there are limitations with the financial planning that you did, what I heard you say that a big part of being able to enjoy your retirement is to be able to have the support and connection with friends and family.
Yes.
And
so that's something that we can work on, I think.
But Kamala, as a therapist, Kamala, let me ask you a question here. So Uncle Tony would be the ideal model for retirement,
Yeah.
right? How would you treat someone that comes into you and says, I'm retired, I hate my spouse, I am lonely, I didn't make friends, I was married to work. How do you begin to treat that person?
I guess the starting point, I think, with that is we've identified some regrets that we have. Here's what I could have done differently or better. And that can be a place where I can get really stuck, where people can get really stuck. I should have, I could have.
That's what Keisha talked about last week.
Exactly. And the challenge with that is some of those ships have already sailed. These are things that have already passed. The question now becomes, okay, what is within my reach now?
What can I control now?
What can I control now? And I think when you shift your attention away from the regrets to what can I notice now, what can I impact now, what can I change now, it can open you up to opportunities
Changes
that you
your
might
outlook.
not see. So you might not know. Changing that perspective, that person might say, I didn't form all of the relationships that I could have, but here are some relationships I do have. What can I do to nurture those relationships more now that I have the time and opportunity to do it, right? For some people, it might be the case that you've made you use the example of seeing an older person at Walmart and they're working for the insurance, and I had the thought as well, is that always the case?
Right.
Could it be also that part of that is I get to connect with with some people that are some young people? I remember seeing a video, and this was social media, I guess, take it with a grain of salt, but it was a social media video of a more elderly person interacting in the supermarket with this younger person who worked there, and they would meet up there almost every week and kind of have in-store games where they were using plastic water guns and that kind of stuff just to kind of play. And I say that to say this: there are areas and ways that we can interact with other people. I heard my coworkers talking about getting together for bingo, right? And back when I was younger, when I heard bingo, I always thought older people, but no, it's people of all age ranges. So what do I have within my
What can I
grasp?
control?
And how can I put myself in those positions to access it?
Uncle, I want to ask you, Kamala mentioned the word regrets earlier, and I want to ask you about that, but not yet. Earlier when we were talking, you said that as you're working, take vacations. Don't let it just be all work. Could you talk to us about how important that is? Right after, let me read what these three comments. Desiree said, that is so very important. Proper planning for retirement age. Then she said, for me, I'm satisfied with where I am. The mortgage is important to get that out of the way or know for sure how that will be taken care of. Then Denzel Jackson said, you can find good medical insurance rates on U.S. government website.
There you go.
That's my brother.
That's my brother.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Jackson. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so very much.
Can I make a quick point?
Yes.
And I'm making that quick point just based on what your brother just did, Uncle Tony. You see the conversation that we're having. So we're having this on social media, but just conversation. That's what Uncle Tony was talking about earlier. Just by being able to connect with people, we can find resources
just from talking, which is what Uncle said earlier. He said as he was coming up, he was talking to other people.
Exactly.
All right, Uncle, talk to us. Vacations. You said it's important to take vacations as you're working.
Yeah, I still think about a couple of years ago, I went on a vacation to Negril. The first time I went to Negril, and I had just done surgery on my shoulder, and I could hardly move my arm up over my head. And we had a nice vacation, but I wanted to go swimming in a deep area, and it's like I can't get my hand up over my head, and I said, man, I can't really enjoy this vacation to this fullest. And you see so many old people, they get to the point where they can't climb the waterfalls because they get into. I said to myself, you know something, there are some things you have to enjoy while you're young, because when you get older, you might have the time and the money, but you just don't have the capabilities to do it no more. So every so often you gotta think of somewhere you wanna go and try and make the sacrifice and go enjoy yourself, because when you do wait until you retire, you might not be able to do it.
Yes.
So, uncle, that's something that's big no mommy is self-care. That's what uncle's talking about, self-care. Yep. So here is my mom said, a man after my own heart. Where did you learn that? Because you're a hard worker, remember? Dad said when you rest, you run. Remember? Where did you learn the balance then of self-care, that it's important to take care of myself? And I know Aunt Yufa probably has a lot to do with some of that.
Yes, she does. You know, she like as she says, she like her husband to look good and be healthy. So I gotta make sure I do my exercise and stay in good health and good shape. So
yes. So, and again, relationship, right? Because that's your partner. That's your partner. Your daughter, Toya, just said, work hard and play harder.
I guess she got some of it from me.
I'm getting a feeling that yes, that is the case.
Talk to us about regrets, uncle. How do you deal? Because there's no way you can be the way you are and have a whole bag of regrets. So how do you deal with bad decisions that you would have made, or things that you wish you had done differently? Or how do you deal with that now as you reflect on life?
Well, as they say, when the river run gone already, water gone under the bridge, you can't turn it back. So you just got to learn from it and try to do better. Take the pluses, and if you decide to go the same route again, you use all the stuff that you learned from the first trip, and make sure you come out better. They say, you know, it's good to make mistakes as long as you learn from it.
Right.
So you just you can't sit back and just going by, I wish I did. Sometimes you gotta step out and say, all right, well, I have been this way before, and I know if I do X, Y, or Z, then it's not gonna work out right. So you change it to the harder that, you know, or ask somebody. If you think you need the help, ask somebody and get the help and do it right.
Yeah.
So all of this just came from your dad, or is this just years of experience? Is this mom said it is what it is? How did you develop the sense of who you are?
I would say some of it from my parents, because my mother was also a pretty savvy businesswoman. She has had quite a few businesses. They were both hard workers. Me growing up, I can remember, and they instilled real good work ethics in us. I remember when my mother used to have a restaurant, and some people, since we moved here to Virginia, people going, man, you don't want to start a restaurant? I said, man, you haven't worked in a restaurant long enough to know how hard it is to work in a restaurant.
That's good.
Uncle Tony said, sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
That's good. I've actually worked in that.
Yes, I have. It's hard work. So yeah, but we've learned from both of them, and they were good people. So yes.
Nothing bothers you. You're the first person that ever taught me to drive, and I don't remember if you were teaching me to drive or if I was stealing your car. But I tore off the left mirror off of your car, and you didn't get mad. You didn't. I mean, I don't. I'm sure you said something, but you didn't get mad. You weren't angry.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers you. Where did that come from?
Well, sometimes you gotta know when, if it's not gonna help the situation, sometimes it don't make any sense. And having kids, as I had from Lataya to Stephen to Money, there was a change in how all of them got handled, because you learn things from the first one that don't work. So you don't even bother yourself to try and fight that same fight with the second one. And by the time we got to Money, they always say, well, Money get away with a lot of things. And I'm going, it don't make no sense fighting with her, because it didn't help with you guys. So,
He said,
sometimes you gotta
learn
do it.
from your previous experience.
Exactly.
Uncle Tony, I told you that tonight was going to fly. It's already 9:56. Could you share with us some things that we didn't cover? Could you just talk to us a little bit? You get the last word.
Well, if there is somebody out there who getting ready to retire, I would say pretty much there's a lot of resources right now that you can reach out to and help you to get up to speed. Because if you are in your 50s and you need to make, say, catch-up payments to bring your IRA or 401k up to where you would like it, this is the time in your 50s when you can take advantage of that if you can. And at the same time, if you're not able to, hey, sometimes you gotta plan a vacation, just get away and don't keep putting everything off and go, well, I'll go here and I'll go there when I retire. No, spend time with the kids, take them places. And my kids always get, to go different places, especially around Jamaica. They get to learn about Jamaica because we always go home and go different places from one end to the next. So you gotta enjoy your life and don't always just wait until the end, because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, come on! I knew tonight was going to be good, but I didn't know, how good it. I knew it was going to be good, but here's some stuff I'm taking away. One of the big things, one of the biggest thing for me is from Uncle Tony's father. Uncle Tony said, "My dad lived in such a way that when he died, it benefited my children." I think that was just so powerful.
Yep. I love that too.
Yep, we were stronger. It seemed, it kind of forced you to be stronger. Yeah.
My lessons learned tonight from you, Uncle Tony, are a couple of things. The first thing I heard, and you never used this word, but how I heard it was be intentional.
Yes. Yes.
So
Vacation.
I'm going to be intentional about finding out what do I need to know about retirement from a financial perspective, and who can I get that information from?
Yes.
I heard be intentional about nurturing the relationships in your life, family, sometimes work colleagues, sometimes other colleagues, so that when I get to retirement, when I'm no longer relying on going to a building or to a place, I still have meaningful connections in my life.
Yes.
I also heard be intentional about my health,
Yes.
both my mental health and my physical health.
Physical health, yes.
Because when all else comes to an end, the things that I know and I'm accustomed to, what I am left with is the mind and body that I have.
Exactly. Yes.
And last but not least, don't wait
Yes.
till retirement
Yes.
to enjoy your life.
Yes.
Exactly.
Enjoy it at intervals
Yes.
while you have the capability.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then enjoy it a little bit more once you get to that.
Once you're retired. Yes. You got it. You got
I
it.
got it. Lessons learned.
Yeah, we
Oh, yes.
we have learned a lot. Anake has a lot to post all week. So I want to say thank you so very much. We tried to do this probably a year ago. We tried to reach out to you to get it done, but you were out of the country. I'm
Probably
just so
enjoying his
grateful.
little
Again, enjoying himself. And
Yes.
my father-in-law has a great point. He said, I would add your spiritual health too. Yes.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is
Very important. Yes.
for us to
Yes.
make sure we take care of our faith. Uncle Tony, thank you, 10 million times, thank you. This was an hour well spent, and we're so grateful. We want to give away a gift tonight. And okay, who are we giving away our gift to? Devonia Morgan said, very informative. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
No, we thank you for coming. Pastor Max said, whoa, it's like I was at the feet of King Solomon with all this wisdom.
Good stuff.
I told you, Uncle Tony, this was good stuff. This was good
All
stuff.
right.
It was good stuff.
All right.
Don't leave us yet, Uncle. Don't leave us yet.
All right.
All right. Our wheel is spinning. If you have won tonight, you have won a wonderful gift coupon to our online store. Jubal, you are our winner tonight.
Mhm.
How you get your prize is that you're going to log on to www.kwministries.net/claim your prize. You will see a little form. You will enter your information. You will get further instructions, and then you get to go shopping.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to give you a gift card and you go shopping in our store. Thank you so
I
very
want to
much.
encourage the rest of you who are on to go shopping too. Maybe you didn't get your gift card tonight, but it doesn't mean that you can't get something good.
I love the sales person. I
But
love
somebody's got to be.
Uncle Tony, thank you so very much for spending this hour with us. What a great and informative hour.
Absolutely.
If we have to confess, Uncle, we got some business we need to take care of.
All right.
I wasn't kidding when I said life lessons.
Yes,
Yes.
I got homework to
we
do.
got
Thank
homework
you.
to do. Uncle. We got
Mhm.
homework to do. Any
All
last words,
right.
Uncle?
You guys take care of yourself and all them beautiful kids you got.
We love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have
You're
a
welcome.
great night.
Everybody,
You
will
too.
see you next week, Monday night. Next week, Monday night. I'm excited. I think next week, Monday night, we have Elder Patterson. Next week is the 23rd.
Is that next week?
Next week, yes, next
Oh
week,
my
23rd.
gosh, that's gonna
Next
be a
week,
great
Monday
discussion.
night, we have Elder Robert Patterson, the brand new CFO of the Bermuda Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. You don't want to miss next week, Monday night. Elder Patterson and we're going to have a discussion on a journey to healing, waiting on God.
Yes.
Waiting on God. And we want to ask him about what happens in the time of wait. How do you wait when you can't see your way? It's going to be a really, really good discussion. You want to be here next week on Monday night. Until then,
Powerful
peace.
stuff. Have a good night, y'all. If it's